Welcome to my channel. In this video today, we're going to be making a delicious creamy soup. So come on, let's get in this kitchen and see what's cooking. Well, it's not going to chop itself. I'm just going to start by chopping some of this broccoli. I'm going to cut these big pieces off like that, and I'm just going to toss it to the side because I don't want that part. I don't really care for the stems. Now, I'm not sure how much of this I'm even going to cut up because I'm just loosely following a recipe. So I'm going to cut it till I think I got enough. Now, see these big pieces like this? You ain't even got to cut them if you don't want to. You can just tear them in smaller pieces. Once you get that stalk off, it's just easy just to rip them into whatever size pieces you want. I just know I want them smaller. And that's going to help me determine whether I need to cut any more or not. Because now I'm just making this soup for me, nobody else. And that's probably going to be enough broccoli. Now y'all know I'm probably going to use some onion powder on down the line too. But I've got this little piece of onion right here. And if I don't use it today, it's probably going to need to go in the trash. I don't like to trash food, so we're going to chop this up. I'm just going to chop it up in just little small pieces. That's going to add a lot of flavor to my soup. And I don't mind if I bite into a chunk of onion because I like it. So if you don't like onion, don't add it in at all. Now, when I say I don't like to waste food around here, I mean I don't like to waste food around here. You see these broccoli stalks that I cut off? They're going in a freezer bag. And I'll continually add any kind of veggie scraps I have into this bag. And when we get enough, I'm going to make some veggie broth. Just stick this in the freezer till you get enough veggie scraps to make you some broth. Okay, I'm going to start by putting a pot on my burner. I've turned it on a medium heat, and I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of butter and let that melt down. Now that my butter has melted down, I'm going to add my onion in, and I'm going to saute that for just a couple of minutes. Now I've got just a little handful. It's probably about 1/4 cup, and I'm going to throw that in there. I'm just going to stir this onion around in here, get it sauteed up, softened up just a little bit. Now I'm also going to add me just a little bit of minced garlic in, just a smidge. That much maybe. The recipe didn't call for minced garlic, but I just wanted to add it in. And it already smells so good. Just get that all incorporated. Let your onions get softened. Let your garlic get fragrant. And then we'll move to our next step. For this next step, you want to take you about 1/8 cup of all-purpose flour, and you want to pour that in there. You want to whisk it around. You want to get this flour cooked. I know some of y'all don't like my metal on metal. That's okay. I'm going to turn this off while I whisk this and get this flour cooked. You want the flour taste cooked out, then we'll move to the next step. Now for this next step, you're going to want to take about 1.5 cups of vegetable broth. Now I'm not using vegetable broth. I'm using that chicken broth that I had left over from my chicken fajita casserole. I told y'all I was going to use it for something else. Well, I have mixed that 1/2 can of cream of chicken soup in with my chicken broth. So we're going to add that in. You see that cream of chicken soup going in? Now I'm going to get that all whisked up in there and get it all incorporated. Next, you want to add in about a cup of heavy whipping cream. Now, if you're using frozen broccoli for this, you're going to want to thaw that broccoli before you put it into this soup, because it's going to add a lot of liquid into it when it thaws, and you don't want any more liquid than what this calls for unless you like yours really, really soupy. So if you do use frozen broccoli, you want to thaw it and then you want to drain it before you put it in. Now, I'm using fresh broccoli because that's what I have. We're using fresh. So I'm going to have to cook my soup just a little bit longer than what you'll have to cook it if you use frozen. If you use the frozen and you thaw it and you drain it and you put it in here, you're only going to have to cook this soup for just, oh, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 minutes. And you're not even ever going to even bring it to a boil. You're just going to let it simmer. So I've got my broccoli that I cut up, and I'm going to go ahead and add this into my pot and get that stirred up in there really good. And in case I forgot to tell you, we're making a broccoli cheese soup. Now, I'm not making a broccoli cheddar soup because if y'all have been around here for a minute, you already know I don't have cheddar cheese in my fridge. I have Mexican style cheese in my fridge, and that's what I'm going to use. And I can guarantee you this soup is going to be good with Mexican style cheese. It just is. But if you have cheddar cheese, or if you prefer cheddar cheese, use cheddar cheese. Use pepper jack. Use whatever cheese you got. But I'm going to let mine actually come to a boil, because I want to cook this broccoli just a little bit. I know you can eat raw broccoli, but I prefer mine cooked just a little bit. Now, I don't want it mushy, but we're going to let this cook for a few minutes. While I'm waiting for my soup to come to a boil, I am going to add in a little salt, a little black pepper, and I'm going to add in a little onion powder, even though I did use fresh onion. Now I'm going to get that all stirred in. You can also add in some garlic powder if you'd like. I didn't because I used the minced garlic. And you can do both if you want to, but I don't love garlic that much, so I do like it. But I like to keep mine to a minimum. That's looking good so far. It's looking nice and creamy. I'm going to let it continue to cook. Now, there's a lot you could do with this soup right here. I'm just making just a broccoli cheese soup. But you can add canned potatoes in here. You could add you some ham in here and make you a broccoli ham cheese soup. Or you could make you a cheesy broccoli potato soup. There's just so many variations to this soup. I mean, you could add some carrots in here if you wanted to. Make you a nice creamy veggie soup. But this soup base is just, it's wonderful. It is so good and creamy. I love making a soup with that base. I'm going to add a little more black pepper to mine. If you've been around here for very long, you also know that I love my black pepper. So, I think for me personally, it needed some more. Now, you may not like black pepper at all. If you don't put it in. I'm going to go ahead and add some of my cheese in. Now, I think you're supposed to put about 4 ounces. We're going to start with that. I'm going to stir it in, and I'm going to let it melt down. Look how good and creamy that's looking. We can almost call this done. I'm going to check and see if my broccoli's done, and then we'll get it put in a bowl. This is enough to feed me twice, so that's always good. The soup is done. I'm going to get it turned off, get it off this heat, and get me some in this bowl. Now this is a really big bowl. It's a bowl with a handle. I love these things. That is plenty of soup in there for me for dinner. And there's still plenty in the pot. About the same amount for me to eat tomorrow, either for brunch or dinner. Let's give it a taste. Now, you can add a little more cheese to the top of your soup if you want to. I'm going to. Okay. Now this soup's hot. I mean, it's hot. Can't show it to you. Because if I do, I'm going to dump it on the floor. We don't want that. Oh my. That's nice. If a soup can be nice, this one's nice. Oh, that's delicious. I'll leave the recipe for this down in the description box if you'd like to give it a try. I'm gonna go eat. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please go give it a like, leave me a comment, share the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next one.